super fight right now is me and Keith Thurman. I mean, I have a belt. He has 2 of the belts, so why not unify? I feel like, you know, that's the best fight right now. That's the easiest fight to be made. We both had the same managers, fight on the same network, so why not do it?
You sound to me like you saying that Keith Thurman is avoiding you. Is that what you're saying on national television?
Well, I'm saying I've been calling out Keith Thurman since I was 15 and 0.
Oh.
You know, it's time to fight. At first, he said he was gonna bust my hot air balloon when he said everybody was gassing me up. And he had nothing to prove by fighting me. I have a belt. He said he wanted to be undisputed and capture all the belts. So why not start and try to get my belt?
And that's what we're going to talk about. So it's fight week.
Errol, I'm not talking about it. Keith Thurman's a good fighter. He's a very good fighter. He's talented. He's accomplished.
Hold up, my bad. Tomorrow is the press conference. Right now, I don't even know what the date is. The date is 17th? Yeah. Right now is January the 17th, 2018, 3:19 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right now, the media workout is going on in New York in Gleason's gym for Spence versus Peterson and the undercard, Marcus Brown, Adam Konaki, Javier Fortuna, and all those guys are there. Tomorrow is the press conference. I'm going to be at the press conference. We're going to be covering the weigh-in, and I'm also going to be at the fight, obviously. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. So, Errol Spence was on ESPN First Take yesterday, which is hosted by Stephen A. Smith, whose presentation style, whose interview style is just so animated, I can't stand it. And here, also HBO commentator, and obviously, you know, he works for ESPN, Max Kellerman. So basically, he was saying that, you know, like he wants the Keith Thurman fight, and Keith Thurman didn't, you know, answer the call. So, of course, Max Kellerman being who he is, if you don't know, Max Kellerman is a huge Vasyl Lomachenko supporter, a huge Terence Crawford supporter, you know, and basically, you know, he was even a huge Guillermo Rigondeaux supporter, you know. He was the one that kept pushing and pushing and pushing Nonito Donaire in the post-fight interviews to fight Guillermo Rigondeaux. And, damn, my bad. So, of course, he's going to ask about Terence Crawford. And as I said in a previous video, Terence Crawford is considered like the boogeyman, you know, of the 147-pound division. But people feel that Errol Spence is the best of the 147-pound division. But Keith Thurman is the money and the unified champion currently in the 147-pound division. So Keith Thurman is supposed to be returning sometime in April. When I talked to him, or when he was at Lara versus Goucher, he was talking about he was going to be coming back in, you know, February, you know, or March. Well, now they're saying it's going to be in April. I also got a chance to ask him if he wanted to have 3 fights in 2018. Now, the way it's looking is that he's going to have 2 fights in 2018, because the more that date keeps getting pushed back, yeah, you know, maybe he can fight in April and then, you know, something like September, and then get like 1 year-in fight. And if that year-in fight was to happen, would be Errol Spence, you know, or the one of Errol Spence versus Lamont Peterson. I don't want to count Lamont Peterson out. I'm not going to be doing that. But a lot of people feel Lamont Peterson is going to lose, you know. So we're going to watch another piece of this. The whole clip is on YouTube. Obviously, I can't show it. You know, even right now, you know, they be giving me shit. You know, even though I ain't doing nothing wrong, it's in my legal right to critique shit. You know, but still, you know, nonetheless, I like that Premier Boxing Champions fighters are now doing this for all of their fights now. These fighters appearing on ESPN. Remember, at one point in time, you know, it just used to be Floyd. You know, so I'm glad to see that they're doing this, you know, and getting these fighters out there. Yeah, you know, Errol Spence is not a big shit talker, but he does speak well. You know, as far as making sure, you know, he articulates what he's going to say. But he's not like a shit talker or anything like that. And people are taking his interview like, you know, Keith Thurman is running from him. From my understanding, Keith Thurman, and he said this, he said he wanted to fight somebody in the top 15 or top 15 of the WBC or the WBA. And he said, you know, he was looking for like a comeback tune-up type fight to get the rust off. But see, here's the thing: when you're a unified champion, people are not trying to hear that shit. So the name that's been constantly thrown out there has been Jesse Vargas. Now, he denied that it was going to be Jesse Vargas, but that was 2 months ago, you know, almost 3 months ago. So of course that Jesse Vargas name can still be in the mix. And also, when you go look at the rankings, and I'm going to make sure I do a Keith Thurman video, I'm not going to do it now, you will see that a lot of those names, if Keith Thurman was to fight, they're going to be like, yo, what the fuck is you doing? You know, so his first fight back, the way it's looking, it's not going to be a easy fight, you know, like he may want. It's looking like it's going to be like somebody like, you know, a Jesse Vargas. But then his mandatory is Shawn Porter, and Shawn Porter had already beat the mandatory and basically got the silver championship. So it's no way he can get out of that Shawn Porter fight. But then you have Danny Garcia fighting Brandon Rios for the WBC. No, wait, correction. You have Shawn Porter, who's the WBC interim champion, what basically makes him the champion, and he is a definite mandatory. Then you have Danny Garcia fighting. Wait a minute. I was at the damn fight and I forgot. Whatever the case may be, I forgot if Shawn Porter was the interim or not. You know, let me just pull this up for you guys right now. You know, so I don't be confusing myself. Sometimes I do too many videos or all these videos and I be getting confused, man. You know, but what I'm trying to say is he is the Shawn Porter is the mandatory, but Angel Garcia came out after Danny Garcia had lost to Keith Thurman and said that there was a rematch clause, and I talked to Shawn Porter a bit about it, and Keith Thurman alluded to it a bit, and it's something going on there where Danny Garcia also is like first in line to get or like is first in line and maybe ahead of Shawn Porter, you know, even if it's slightly to get Keith Thurman. So Keith Thurman would have likely that Jesse Vargas fight if it's him, and then that next fight would be either Shawn Porter or Danny Garcia. And he can bypass all that just by saying, hold on. He can bypass all of that just by saying, okay, well, I know that unification trumps all that, and I know that the WBC, the WBA, and the IBF wouldn't get in the way. You know, obviously the IBF would if he says, okay, well, I want to fight Keith. I want to fight Errol Spence. But he also said that we know who pulls the strings. You know, Al Heyman pulls the strings for Errol Spence. Al Heyman pulls the strings for Keith Thurman. And Keith Thurman said out of his own mouth that he knows that Errol Spence hasn't seen a contract or anything with his name and vice versa. You know, so it's one of those type of things that Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence will happen if these guys continue to win. I think it's going to happen in like early 2019. I say March or so in 2019, in my personal opinion, you know. So, you know, only time will tell. There's another part we want to look at. Did we finish watching the rest of what we were supposed to right here?
And he's won some tough fights. But when I say super fight, I'm talking about that dude. That's going to be my legacy fight because he's like me. I'm a special talent, and he's just a little different than everybody else. Who is that guy in or around your weight class? Because I have an answer for that question. I think Stephen A. has the same answer. What's your answer to that question?
I mean, I really just don't know right now. For right now, it looks like Keith Thurman. I really don't know right now.
You don't see
I know
Terence
what you're trying
Crawford?
to get to. You're probably trying to say Terence Crawford.
Yes.
You know, that's fight's going to happen. Hopefully he beats Jeff Horn and gets that belt. And like I said, I want to be undisputed welterweight champion of the world. So when he does get that belt, we can make it happen in the future.
Terence Crawford, I spoke to him on a couple of...
Now, as I was saying earlier, I feel that right now at 147 pounds, in my personal opinion, even though he's fought at 147 before, but they're looking at this as like his official debut at 147 pounds, meaning Terence Crawford. Go check his box rec. But the point I'm trying to make is, from what I've been gathering, and in my opinion too, I feel that Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford is the super fight at 147. Yeah, Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman's a big fight too. Yeah, Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia is a big fight. Yeah, Errol Spence versus Shawn Porter is a big fight. You know, yeah, Terence Crawford versus any of those names is a big fight too. But when you think of all those fights, you know, taking Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao out of the mix, when you think of all those fights, Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford is the boxing fans' Lomachenko versus Rigondeaux at that division, right? I think that makes sense. But the way these guys are talking from Danny Garcia, you know, Danny Garcia said this, you know, now Errol Spence is saying it, you know, Terence Crawford has to beat Jeff Horn, you know, and it depends on how he looks against Jeff Horn, even though people feel that Jeff Horn is going to be sacred food for Terence Crawford in Vegas, April the 21st. Still, you know, how is he going to look, you know, and, you know, Jeff Horn is huge. And even if he wins against Jeff Horn, You know, people are not going to give him respect, you know, for capturing another title in another division from 135, 140, then 147. People are not going to, you know, they're not going to respect that. You know, they're going to be like, oh, well, you know, it was Jeff Horn. You know, we all knew he was going to slaughter him. And then that's when the real fun begins, because him being signed to Top Rank and them fighting on ESPN, it is no way, shape, or in hell that Terence Crawford is going to be fighting on a Showtime. You know, so that's what shit is going to get really, 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 really interesting. Also, Bob Arum and Al Heyman have a really good working relationship now, by the way. Ever since their whole lawsuit shit, got settled, and whatever, I forgot. Did it get settled? Did it get thrown? No, Golden Boys got thrown out. The Al Heyman and Bob Arum one got settled, and it was a confidentiality agreement signed, which somewhat led to Top Rank on ESPN and PBC not being on ESPN anymore. In a way, it's kind of complex. But anyway, let me see if there's anything else we missed here.
Of occasions over the last few months, he expects to handle his business against Mr. Joe Horn. He wants Keith Thurman himself, but he also wants you. How do you feel about the fact that he wants you?
I mean, that's what he's supposed to want. I mean, he's a fighter. I'm a fighter too. That's what fighters supposed to do. You're supposed to want the top guys. You're supposed to want the guys with the belt. You know, I expect nothing less from Terence Crawford but to want me.
But Keith, do you see... Sorry, Keith. Errol, do you see Terence as different from the other guys? When Stephen A., when
Max is really pushing this issue. He is really, really, really pushing this issue.
A lot of boxing people, fans, media experts, even other fighters, look at guys that go, Errol Spence, different. He punches, like the way he punches, the hand speed, the athletic ability, the heart, etc. But Terence Crawford, also a different kind of cat. Do you see Terence as qualitatively different from other fighters in and around your weight class?
I see Terence Crawford different at 140. I don't know how he's going to do at 147. 147 is different. It's a different type of animal. We're bigger, we're stronger, we're faster than a lot of guys at 140. I don't know how he'll do at 140.
Hold it.
I mean, he hasn't proven himself at 140.
Hold it. Are you trying to say that Terence Crawford, listen, forget about fighting me. You need to show that you can handle the other cats at 147 before you even think about me. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Is that what you're saying, Errol Spence Jr.?
I mean, I think so. I mean, it starts out with Jeff Horn. I mean, he needs to worry about beating Jeff Horn and getting that belt first before he talk about lining it up with me and Keith Thurman.
Well, I mean, and you got to agree with that, though. You know, because these guys have been at 147, and of course,
about that fight.
My bad. And of course, you know, they can say that. You know, they can say, well, listen, he ain't even up here yet. You know, he ain't even in this division yet. You're already talking about, you know, but Lamont Peterson is feeling the same way. What if Lamont Peterson fucks all these plans up? You know, people are really counting Lamont Peterson out. Hell, I'm not giving him too much of a chance. But listen, anything can happen, you know, and the reason why I'm not giving him a chance is because he's coming from a smaller division. You know, Errol Spence is huge in the power. But, you know, Lamont Peterson has been a different fighter the last few fights he fought in the last few years. Yeah, it's been a long time. You know, he ain't been having too many fights. They were saying that he didn't even want this fight. You know, they were trying to get other fights. They almost got the Miguel Cotto fight, meaning Lamont Peterson. You know, go check out the interview with Barry Hunter, you know, where he was talking to the media on this here on the channel. So the fight is this weekend. I'm going to be there. I'm hyped, you know, but I got to start getting ready to pack my little bag, get some rest, you know, head out to, you know, the Big Apple in the morning in New York. You know, get to this press conference. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live.